At the time of my discard, I hadn't realized that I was codependent, that I had codependency issues. And I remember that day clear as day when I was hurting in pain. I was just standing there crying my eyes out, and I'm a very sensitive person. So needless to say, the person was completely unempathetic to what I was feeling, borderline annoyed. And when everything was happening the way it was, I'm trying to figure out what's going on. Like, I couldn't understand the person that I was hoping to spend the rest of my life with, and that I was completely and head over heels in love with, was really breaking my heart. And all I could do was think of ways to try to fix it, to try to fix the problems. All the while failing to realize that this person was being pretty cruel, heartless, manipulative. I mean, I had to literally be penciled in to where I could meet with the person, maybe possibly sit down and talk with them. It went from being in love, being there for one another, being with one another, to being breadcrumbed, being, text every other day, or maybe a week will go by, and it was really bad. It was really bad. And I was really trying to, again, figure out what it was that I was doing wrong. What did I do so wrong? What was wrong with me that all of this was happening? Because I pretty much blamed myself. And as I'm standing there blaming myself, and I'm crying, and I'm just like, what can I do to fix this? What can I do to make things right? I mean, this can't be it. The person just looked at me kind of blank in a way, and I'm going to see if I can say it in the same way. What, Erica, you want me to be with you out of pity? And this was all while I was, standing there crying. I'm hurt. I'm hurting. I'm upset. And you're annoyed by me and my feelings and what's going on. So even after that, I still was trying. I was still trying to make things right. I was still trying to be better. I was still trying to, saying to myself, if I give them some space, maybe they'll realize they're making a mistake. Maybe they'll realize that, we're meant to be together, because I really love this person. And I've done every and anything possible to show them that I love them. I mean, anyone can vouch for that. And I don't understand what the problem is. And some time went by, and I tried again. And the next time around, I got told, you know what? Before you throw yourself in front of a bus, I'm just gonna be with you. All right? I'm just gonna be with you, because you obviously are just, it's not gonna stop. It's never gonna. And I was crying, and I was saying I could change. I can change. I could change. Whatever you need, whatever you want, I could change. And of course, they still turned their back on me. I had come to the realization that, the ego was getting stroked. Just wasn't by me. And it wasn't enough what I was doing. They had become bored with me. Things were stale. They were just like, what? It's not doing anything for me. And I mean, I am a boring person. I'm not going to deny that. All I ever did was work. I mostly worked. I mostly took care of my kid, took care of my home. I don't party. I don't drink. I don't do any of that. And I basically had come to the terms that, the excitement is probably elsewhere. And considering a lot of the things that I saw, considering a lot of the things that were brought to my attention, that was pretty much the straw that broke the camel's back. Now, much like anyone else, I went through withdrawals. I went through my anxieties. I went through panic attacks. I, would find myself waking up in the middle of the night 2, 3 in the morning when I could finally fall asleep, shaking, just shaking out of my sleep. I felt like a crack fiend in a clinic, you know, just being taken off a drug. And it really hit me hard when I come to the realization that it was almost as if I never existed. Because while I'm going through the motions and I'm trying to pick myself back up, you know, obviously that person went on with their life and they were just doing whatever they wanted to do. It was almost as if Erica was just another phase, and that's it. And yeah, that was a pretty hard pill to swallow, but I had to swallow it. You know, I had to take it for what it was. And I ended up going to therapy. I tried to figure out what was wrong with me. I tried to understand what was wrong with me. And that's when I found out that I was suffering from codependency. And it's pretty much where you're so afraid to be alone that you're willing to take abuse, manipulation, pain, what have you, from people just for the sake of having them in your life. And you rely on people to validate you. You rely on people to emotionally fulfill you. You rely on external sources because you are internally insecure. So there was no doubt in my mind that there was something wrong with me. But it was more so what I was willing to put up with just for the sake of saying, I have someone in my life. Codependency, much like narcissism, is trauma. It's trauma that's been inflicted on people from early childhood. And it's due to inconsistency from a caregiver, be it if it's your parents or anybody who took care of you. It's programming fear of abandonment. So though the person you're dealing with is giving you breadcrumbs, and the person you're dealing with is treating you like shit, and the person you're dealing with is telling you I love you, but the person you're dealing with is talking to you like you are absolutely pitiful, you are mistaking all of that abuse with your punishment. You're being punished for something that you did. You're being punished for something that you could not do. You're being punished for not fulfilling the expectations of another person. Well, Erica, codependency sounds like one hell of a roller coaster ride. So how did you manage to overcome it? Good question. Basically, what I did was I went through the motions. I had to go through the pain. I had to feel it. I literally had to feel it. And when I was done feeling the pain of everything, I took accountability. I took accountability for me, for what I contributed. I took accountability for my anxiety. I took accountability for my insecurities. I took accountability for my clinginess. I took accountability for my sense of demands. I took accountability for basically trying to control things, because codependents do try to control things too. I took accountability for a lot of what it was that I contributed to the dynamic, to any other dynamics in my life. I took accountability. That's the first step, is taking accountability, because you're acknowledging. On the flip side of that, I did not take accountability for how other people treated me, because first and foremost, I was a respectful person, always respectful, no matter what. Okay. I was a loyal person. I was a decent person. I was a caring person. I was, yes, a people pleaser. I wanted to please everyone and let everyone know that I care, and I'm a caregiver. That was a responsibility given to me, because if anyone knows what it is to be part of a single parent household, I am a caregiver. I was responsible to help take care of my siblings. I was responsible to help take care of my little brothers and my sister when their fathers decided when they wanted to be fathers. I was responsible for that. So I was given that responsibility at a very young age to help my single mother of 4 children, me being the oldest. And that's just pretty much the role that I've always taken, the caregiver role. So needless to say, I'm a people pleaser. Let me amend that. I was a people pleaser. Because the second thing I did was I stood out of myself. I stood outside of myself, and I put myself as a third party. So now you have Erica, you have the other party, and then you have me here, third party. And I basically looked at everything. I looked at everything for what it was. At this point, you're doing head over heart decisions, which means you're not using emotion anymore. You're using logic, okay? Codependent Erica was using emotions because she was afraid. She had fear. She had fear of losing people. Logical Erica does not give a fuck about anything or anybody, what they say, and if they come at me stupid, then they're gonna really wish they hadn't. Logical Erica basically decided to put two and two together, see everything for what it was. At this precise moment is the most important moment, because now logical Erica is becoming enraged and pissed. Now, when you become enraged and really pissed off, you can do something stupid. So I advise that if anyone's going to go into this mode, be very, very careful, because someone who's a caring, giving person, someone who sees that they were taken advantage of, they were taken for granted, can get extremely, extremely emotional. Logic is out the window and they can do something stupid. So you got to be very careful. I, on the other hand, have very strong willpower. Nothing outside of what I believe in affects me. So I have strong willpower, and I managed to utilize that anger, that frustration, that rage, and I utilized that to push forward. What I did was I started to change things. I started to change the way I thought about things. I started to change the way I saw things. I started to change my whole outlook, my perception of everything. And hell, I even started to change myself. Now, at this precise point, as pissed off as you are, and you don't want anything to do with anyone involved within a particular situation because you're completely disgusted by everything, you can move on and just be with someone else or do what you do or whatever the case may be. But that's not the point of getting over codependency. Getting over codependency means embracing your autonomy. It means embracing your singlehood, embracing your solidarity. You're embracing being alone, being independent, being emotionally independent. So what I decided to do was I decided to cut off contact with everybody. I mean, everybody. Only very few close friends kept in contact with them, but I had to reprogram my mind. I had to reprogram my lifestyle and reprogram everything that I ever believed in, everything that I ever thought, because everything was fear-based. I decided to reprogram it. And by doing so, I managed to stay single for about roughly 2.5 years. I managed to stay single. I managed to stay by myself. I managed to enjoy my autonomy. I managed to enjoy my singlehood. I managed to get things that I never got to do done. And I managed to work on myself. I worked on my self-love. I worked on my physical appearance, because if you would have seen me before, trust me, you'd have been like, that's a big fucking leap. But I managed to do that. I managed to change everything about myself. The only thing I did not change about myself is my empathy. And just because you change, you are emitting self-love, you are confident, you are secure, you don't need no fucking body, does not make you conceited, does not make you vain, does not make you any of those things. Because if you don't change who you are internally, as far as your empathy is concerned, as far as your feelings are concerned, then you've just managed to accomplish what a lot of people have not accomplished yet, which is evolution. You evolved. That's all. You just evolved. You may have changed your physical appearance. You may have changed your outlook to things. You're becoming more conscious and you're becoming more aware. But most importantly, you're purging out that fucking trauma. That's what you're doing. So what I did was I purged out that trauma. Don't get me wrong. It's a rough road. It was a real rough road, because I found myself at night crying and purging and crying and purging. I found myself doing that plenty of times. And at the end of the day, I've learned that, you know what? I cannot misconstrue love with attachment and vice versa, because as much as I love the person and as much as I would have loved to spend the rest of my life with the person, that person was meant to be a catalyst in my life. He was the straw that broke the camel's back, in which all of my trauma was triggered. All of everything that I was suppressing, everything for years, had been triggered. And it made me realize that the relationships I was getting involved in, I was a broken soul, and I was attracting other broken souls, and I was attracting people who had their own traumas. And Their traumas were opposite of mine, but what I am as a person, who I am as a person, would be the catalyst to their trauma, just like who they are is the catalyst to mine. So in overcoming codependency, it's not an easy road. It wouldn't be an easy road for a narcissist. It damn sure isn't going to be an easy road for a codependent. But at the end of the day, I managed to do it. I managed to do it. And I'm no longer in that self-pity mode. I'm no longer in that, oh my God, am I going to be alone? Am I ever going to find someone to love me for me and allow me to love them? Allow me to be myself, feel comfortable being myself, and they can be comfortable being themselves. Because all the while, I've been meeting people that were so guarded, and because they've been through their own shit. But I have good intentions. Being a codependent, we just want to be loved. We just wanted to have affection. We just wanted to have that sense of validation. And unfortunately, if you are a codependent, it's not going to work in that way. It's not going to work in the way that you think it's going to work. You're going to continually attract people who have problems. You're going to continually be insecure. You're going to continually have anxiety, fear of abandonment until you overcome that codependency, until you overcome those insecurities and that fear. It's going to be a lifetime cycle. You're going to continually attract narcissists. You're going to continually attract people who have problems, and they're not going to treat you the way you should be treated. Not the way you want to be treated, because you're programmed. If you're codependent, you're programmed to believe that you deserve reward and punishment behavior. You're programmed to believe that transactional love is the way it should be, and it's not. Love is free. You should not have to give anything to be loved. You should not have to stroke someone's ego just so they can give you a little bit of attention to feel loved. No, you should be able to freely give love and freely receive love. But the only way you're going to do that is if you learn to love yourself first. I know everybody says it all the time, and sometimes it sounds kind of cliche, but at the end of the day, it's the motherfucking truth. You gotta love yourself. Love yourself hard. So guys, I wasn't trying to make this video extremely long, but you know what? The best way to help someone or help people to overcome certain obstacles is to set yourself as an example. And I can finally freely talk about it, talk about certain things that transpired with me, and let you know that, trust me, I understand. I understand how you feel. I understand what you're going through. I understand the pain. I understand the sense of betrayal. I understand everything. And let me tell you something, okay? You're still alive. You're still here. You're still running. You're still surviving. You're still doing it. So get started on it. Start with loving yourself. Start with putting up extremely high boundaries. Start with knowing what the fuck you deserve. And start doing it today. Start with acknowledgement. Take accountability. Stand outside of yourself. It's okay to go from being hurt and in pain to being pissed off and enraged. It's okay to do that. Just make sure you're careful with it. Utilize that anger. Utilize that pain. Utilize that rage and push yourself. Push yourself to learn what it is that you deserve. Push yourself to learn that, you know something, all this bullshit that I had to deal with, fuck that. I don't need that. I'm a good person. I have a heart. I'm empathetic. I deserve better. I deserve everything in life. Work on your independence. Work on your emotional independence. Enjoy your autonomy. Heal yourself. Heal yourself. And you can change everything else around you. Because once you start doing all of that, people are not going to really fuck with you like that. Because you're raising yourself way higher than you anticipated. And if they want to meet with you, then you know what? They're going to have to step up. Let them bring themselves up to your level. Stop stooping to their level. Okay? You want to overcome your codependency. You want to stop meeting people who are treating you like shit because they have problems. You want to stop going through all that bullshit. 2020 has been the most screwed up year. We're about to start 2021 in a few months. Start making that change now. So when your year comes, you be on easy street. Remember when I told you guys earlier, I was saying I could change. I could change. I can be whatever I need to be. I can change. Yeah, I did change. I changed my phone number. I changed my home address. I changed the way I look. I changed my hair color. And I changed my motherfucking attitude. And trust me, best fucking change I ever made. So if I can do it, and I have 37 years on this earth, 35 years being codependent, and I overcame it, so can you.
Your mind is full, full.